Hey everybody, today I'm going to discuss with you how to overcome trust issues. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Natasha Williams and I'm a personal development and a toxic relationship expert. So, the question is, how do you overcome trust issues? And this is a problem that a lot of people have when they've been in a toxic relationship, when they've been in an abusive relationship, because they clearly were not able to identify that this person is going to hurt them. They weren't able to follow their own gut. They weren't able to follow their own red flags when the telltale signs were there, but they ignored them. And so they don't trust that they are able to then identify if somebody else is going to hurt them. And a lot of the people that I know are too afraid to get back into a relationship again because they are so scared that they're going to land up in yet another abusive relationship and then go through all that pain and all that heartache again just to find out that this person is also a narcissist. They just have a different name. So the first thing is, obviously, if you are in this situation, you've already discovered that you have a pattern. And the pattern is that you keep attracting the same kind of people into your life. And so, yes, unless you heal the pattern, unless you stop that thing internally that is drawing these kinds of people, and I'll get into why you're drawing them now, is that you're going to then attract that person anyway because you're a magnet to them. Now, this is a bit of a controversial issue because a lot of people say, I attract that person, but nobody consciously goes out and looks for a narcissist. What actually happens is a narcissist targets you because you are an unsuspecting, innocent person who wants to do good and help everybody. That is why they found you. You fell into their trap, just like you would as a wild deer walking through the woods and you put your foot in a trap and the hunter catches you, or a lion catches you. Nobody's out there looking for a lion. Nobody's out there looking for a trap. And nobody knows what to expect when they fall into that trap because there's not a lot of people that understand narcissistic abuse. They don't understand the extent to which people go because it's so hidden, it's so covert. It only happens behind closed doors and no one talks about it. And they are being led to be confused. So speaking out, you'll know there's a lot of problems that happen if you're a whistleblower. If you stand up for yourself, for your rights, they will annihilate you. They will have smear campaigns. And so there's not a lot that people can do about that because they are literally annihilated. And so getting the information out there is so important because you need to know what to look for. So because you now are a deer in the headlights, as it were, you've got now fallen into this trap. And so because you thought that everybody out there has the same nature that you have, therefore you are just blindly trusting everybody that comes into your space. Now, I did a post on Facebook recently about that, about boundaries, that you need to have boundaries up. You don't just allow somebody to walk into your life and take over. Now, narcissists can be very charming, but what they do when they initially meet you is they literally come into your life and they take over. So you'll find that love bombing is literally getting into your headspace, getting into your house, getting into your place, finding out where you live, where you work, who your friends are, what you do, what your beliefs are, everything about you. So they can literally get into your brain to figure out everything about you so they can start taking it over. And so initially you're quite flattered and you're quite charmed by all of this intense love bombing that happens. And so you share everything because you're open and honest. So how do you overcome that? Well, first of all, what you will have learned, which is a very valuable lesson, is that you can't just trust anybody. Now, in law, they say innocent until proven guilty. And what empaths do is they say trust until proven untrustworthy. Now, if you want to stop doing that, you need to turn that around and say guilty until proven innocent. You cannot just allow somebody the benefit of the doubt. You need to let them follow through. And that is not based on one thing that somebody says. It's based on a pattern. It's based on a pattern of, do their actions match their words? Do they follow through on promises? Are they able to accept responsibility for their own behavior? And are they able to let you be who you are? So when you ask somebody to be somewhere, maybe they have to pick you up at 6 o'clock at night and they don't arrive for whatever reason, and they come there at 7 or 8 o'clock, and then they tell you, oh, what's so wrong with you? You're so needy, and they are not taking ownership. They're not understanding that they have made a promise to show up and be there at a certain time. They've made it about you being needy or your emotional state that is so bad, and they haven't actually followed through on their promise or their commitment to be there at a certain time. Now, given somebody might be late, they might have run into traffic or had a meeting that ran late or forgotten even, and then they may not have made it. That's why I say you've got to look for a pattern. Let's say they do it again, and then they do it again, and then they do it again. Another way that they'll show them that they can't be trustworthy is they might have shared something with you. They found out your secrets, and then before you know it, somebody else knows it about you, but it's not done in a good way. They might have twisted something. Let's say you fell pregnant and you've told them in confidence, maybe it's a friend at work or a colleague, and you've told them, oh, I'm pregnant, I'm quite excited about it, but they've gone and taken that pregnancy as if you've now somehow done something wrong, and they're spreading it as a malicious gossip rumor rather than something that you've been trying to do and looking forward to. So the truth is there. There's always a seed of truth, but the way that it comes out, it's been twisted and tainted to make you look bad and make them look like they are the news bringers or something like that. So you always want to look out for things like that. And so just to fall into a relationship and not know them. And this is something else you need to do. And this is something that I discovered when I was married, is that because they make everything about you, you don't even know who you're with. You don't even know who the devil is that's in your house. You only find out later because you were so overwhelmed with all the things that they do for you and the things that they say to you, that you overlook things about them. There's those red flags you didn't follow through on. You didn't find out, do they have friends from childhood? Do they have solid relationships? Or have they been in and out of jobs that they keep saying, no, this boss was wrong, or this situation was wrong, they didn't pay me enough. There's always something else that was a factor. And they're not able to have a consistent job. They're not able to keep certain friends in their life. And you haven't done that interview process because you just went and blindly trusted. So if you're a person that's been in these relationships, you know that you need to first find out who is this person that you are going to be involved with. And you don't need to be with them for 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, 6 years to find out who they are. There are certain characteristics that you can look out for. So 1, do they follow up on their promises? 2, are they who they say they are? And are they reliable? Are they consistent? Do the things that they say match with the things that they're actually doing? So once you've learned how to identify a narcissist, you will be able to look for those red flags. And yes, everybody has narcissistic traits, but not everybody goes to the extent to which they were. The other reason why you can't really trust them is because you didn't show your true self to them. Now, what do I mean by that? Because you'll wear your emotions on your sleeve. You are open and you're transparent and you are available for everybody else, but what you also do is you don't share when you are not happy with something that they do. You keep that to yourself. You're so busy trying to please the other person, trying to do everything for everybody else, that you don't voice your own disapproval. And so they don't really get to see the so-called bad side of you. They don't get to see that part of you that is not so nice and always giving, because how could you? You can't show them that side of you. And so when you do become disapproving, they might take a step back and say, hang on, what's wrong with you? Because they didn't really get to know you. And the fear that you have is that if somebody gets to know the real vulnerable me, the me that also wants attention, the me that is giving to you because I want attention back, that me might not be lovable. That me is that I'm unworthy, that nobody will love me. When they really get to know me, they won't love the person that I am. And so I just have to keep putting on a smile, being nice, being sweet, doing everything for everybody else, because I can't be nasty. I don't want to be nasty. I don't want to be like all these people that are so nasty to me. And the thing is, you haven't learned the difference between confrontation and assertiveness. Confrontation is when you just blurt something out, hurt somebody else's feelings, and tell them go on and deal with it. And that is confrontation. Assertiveness is about standing up for your own rights. You didn't stand up. You didn't allow that voice in you that was niggling, that said, I'm not really happy with this. I don't like the way this is going. Because they've turned it on you and they've made it about your insecurities and your neediness or whatever that thing is that you supposedly have. You didn't assert it right there and then. You didn't say, yes, I am needy. And I expect that somebody be here at 6 o'clock if they say they're going to be, because you're not valuing my time. My time is important. If you were going to come here at 8, that's fine. But then let me know, because then I could have done something in that 2 hours that is of value to me, that I could have maybe worked or gone out longer or not have had to rush. But you didn't take me into account. And that tells me that you don't value my time. You only value your time. And when you're able to say that with confidence, and the other person agrees with it and follows through on it the next time, you create a more loving and trusting bond. And so now getting to the self-worth part of it. The self-worth is what it's all about. It's what I said at the beginning of this video. If you don't believe you are worthy, if you don't believe that you are lovable, you don't believe that anything you say you can stand up for, then you will allow that person to bulldoze you. You will allow them to undermine you, to become somebody that they want you to become. And the fact is, your job here on earth is to be the best version of yourself, not the best version of somebody else. And how do you find your self-worth? You find your self-worth by forgiving all those things that you somehow think you did wrong or are wrong, that there's something inside you that is faulty. By learning that actually you are deserving. Actually, you do deserve somebody who treats you like a queen or a king. You do deserve somebody that's going to love you for who you are. And you will, if you actually really sat down, you'd look at all your achievements. You will realize, and you already know this, but you haven't felt it, that you've done so much more than most people out there. You work so much harder, you do so much good, and yet somehow these people tend to undermine all of that and just expect. And it's that expectingness that you think must come from outside, and it doesn't. It comes from inside. And the only way to do that, there's two ways. You can either develop amnesia and hope somebody hits you on the head and you just wake up one day and you just feel amazing because you don't know who you are. Or you can go and reprogram your past life, the way your outlook of yourself is, to somebody that you'd like it to be. Because right now the way it is isn't working. And trying to push through and keep staying who you are and telling yourself more and more isn't going to change you. It's just going to keep you focused in a loop and asking yourself the same questions. You need to get out. You have to get into a different environment, a different space. And the only way to get into a different space is to question all those things that happened that made you come to the conclusion that somehow you're bad. And those things that happened could have happened in the womb. They could have happened at conception, where somehow you had a knowingness that you aren't wanted. You felt that when you were born. And how do you overcome that? You can't overcome that by forgiving your parents and by forgiving yourself. You overcome that by going into that state, into that space, and finding the healing there. So if you like, I can do a free strategy session with you. You can figure it all out on your own. But if you want, I can do a 45-minute call and help you, show you how you can uncover all of these things in yourself. It's personalized, it's one-on-one. It's not a generic template. It's not a generic session that you can download. It's something that we go in depth to find out exactly where that programming went wrong with you, how it's presenting itself in your life, so that you can heal it and you can become that new person. You can have that person that has self-love, because when you have self-love, you can love everybody else even more than you are already now, without sacrificing who you are, without giving more of yourself, without giving more of your time, without doing more, just by sitting back and being. So if you like, click on the link. You can set up a time, just follow the prompts. And I hope that this video helped you, and you have an awesome day.